All right, I'm ready.
Okay. I'm setting up. Dude, this room gets so hot.
Really?
It's ridiculous. The only thing we pay for in utilities is for electricity, so we don't want to touch the thermostat because that's
Right.
electricity and we'd have to pay so much extra for it. It gets so like last night I woke up like 6 times because it was so
Right.
hot.
Okay. Oh, okay. I gotta turn the AC on, dude. Even though it does cost money, I can't do that.
I'm so annoyed. Are you back in? Oh, you're back. Yeah, went to go play
Yeah.
basketball.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We good to start?
Yeah.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of The Sideline. My name is Rishioza,
My name's Asher Hire.
and we got a fun episode today. We're going to be going through a couple of different things. As mentioned in the title, we're going to talk about NBA free agency. Most of the big guys are gone. There's still a couple different things that have to be settled, but most of it's done, including what the Nuggets did. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about some of the summer league stuff that happened yesterday, and some of the stuff that happened in Sacramento and Utah as well over the last week. You want to start with summer league? That just happened yesterday.
Yeah, sure. Should we start with the Nuggets, I guess?
Yeah, we'll start with the Nuggets. There wasn't too much different, I think, in other games. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't watch Wembanyama's game, but
Oh, really?
I was at dinner, but
Okay. Yeah,
we can
Victor
start with Nuggets.
he had a pretty tough game, but the Nuggets, I thought like overall, like the guys who were supposed to show potential did, which was nice. Like seeing Peyton Watson out there, seeing him handle the ball was interesting. Because that's definitely not a role that I foresee him in. Like I just more see him as a cutter type of off ball mover guy who's amazing on defense, but not really like running the offense. But he was doing that for the game, and I thought he did a pretty decent job. There were still, there were some opportunities where he could have passed it. Like he had Tyson wide open in the corner late in the game, and he decided to pull up for three with a guy in his face. And then there's some of the drive and kick, like he'll drive and just attack the defender. He wants to posterize everybody. Meanwhile, there's a guy wide open if he just kicks it to the corner or to the top of the key. So I mean, just plays like that. But again, that's not his role. I don't think he's not like a playmaker. So I don't think that's what he's really going to be playing in during the season. However, I thought his dribbling impressed me. His free throw, like contact ability to draw free throws, and then I think he was 8 for 10 from the line, which is pretty good, considering what he shot last
That
year.
was good to see.
Yeah, he made a 3 also. Maybe made 2. I know he made 1.
Yeah. No, I was really impressed with Watson as well. I thought he was the best player on the court.
Yeah.
Defensively, he had he had a couple of really, really good possessions. I think that's going to be what his role is. Like I agree with you. Like I think that he showed a decent amount of ball handling and playmaking skills at the end of the season last year, but in a normal rotation, and if he's going to be a playoff player, that's not going to be what he's asked to do. And I think he'll have to do more of that than we expect because of how thin Denver is at the point guard position. Like, obviously, like I think Jalen Pickett can be a guy. I really like what I saw from him yesterday. I hope that Colin Gillespie can be that because I thought his playmaking was good, but I mean his jumper didn't fall at all yesterday. But outside of Reggie Jackson, there's no really like proven guy to run an offense. But I think Peyton Watson, if he can play make like this and he can dribble like this and if he can operate in the mid range like this, I think he can be a good secondary ball handler because there really isn't one on that initial bench that we're imagining for Denver next season. It's Reggie Jackson and that's about it. So if he can be a secondary ball handler, a secondary creator, I think these are really important minutes for him to be able to develop that. And I like what I saw. I really was impressed with his mid range game and his floater. Because that's something we didn't see at all from him last year in terms of 1-2 dribble pull up in the mid range or a floater in the mid range off the dribble. Like
he had a
ton of those shots.
He had an and one floater. Yeah, 3 steals, 3 blocks. He started the game out amazing. He had that big stuff on Mannion, I think it was, and then got out in transition, did a huge dunk. He shot 6 for 12. 2 of those misses are block dunks. So it could have easily been 7 for 10. And he was 10 for 13 from the free throw line, not 8 for 10, but that's still, amazing. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, Pickett was the other guy who, I mean, obviously, like the guy who surprised me the most was Tyson. And
Mhm.
there's a reason he surprised me, I guess, because I wasn't like expecting too much, and I don't know. I mean, he was very good in that game, but I still don't know like his spot on the team. But Pickett is really what got me excited. I mean, he had 12 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, which is what he was doing in college, and
Mhm.
he's so unselfish, unselfish to a fault a little bit in that game. He had some
Yeah.
looks like he was just wide open from the mid range, and he would just kind of back it out. I'm like, wait, you got an automatic mid range shot. Like he made maybe 3 or 4 mid range shots. He had 2 threes off catch and shoot, I believe. But like his vision, he doesn't have flashy dribble moves, but he's got good ball security, just like all you need. And that's fine as a backup point guard. Um, and yeah, just his vision was spectacular. I think that mid range jump shot can really turn into a real like automatic weapon, like Monte Morris had
Mhm.
in his arsenal. And that 3-point jump shot looked pretty good too. So I'm super excited about Pickett. I feel like I mean, I look at one game, but the way he controlled that offense,
Yeah.
like shoot,
He
I mean,
looked
I want him over Reggie Jackson to play,
he
bro.
looked
Like,
really, really comfortable running the
yeah,
offense. And I like this is my kind of issue with this is something I noticed immediately when they were running the lineups. Like, I don't think either him or Colin Gillespie is really comfortable running off ball. Like, that's not what they have ever done in their lives,
yeah,
pretty much. So I would like to see them. They did stagger them and split them up. I thought the rotation was fine, but I would like to see one of them start on the bench so they can really run the offense and be the guy for majority of their minutes. Because when Jalen Pickett was doing that, I thought he really, really impressed. And I agree with you. I thought that I wanted him to score more. I wanted him to look for his shot a lot more because he had it. He had it way more. And I understand being unselfish. I understand getting everyone involved, but like I really wanted him to score more because he is such a fun scorer. I saw on the DNVR podcast said that one of his nicknames is Booty Ball. And I
yeah.
think that's very appropriate for him because like first possession of the game that he has where he's running the offense, he's backing people down from half court. Like it was so funny to watch. He's such an unorthodox player.
Booty ball
And
and the grandpa.
yeah, Booty Ball and Grandpa. Some incredible nicknames from Jalen Pickett. But I was like, I
Describes
remember
him perfectly though.
Connor was saying like his kind of scouting report on Jalen Pickett was we don't know if his game is going to be able to translate to the next level and translate to the NBA because what is his role going to be? Is he going to be able to play off ball? Is he going to be able to run an offense like conventionally? And I think he got picked to the perfect place in Denver because nothing they do is conventional offensively. Obviously, running it through center and running all their different actions. So I think Jalen Pickett is going to fit in just fine. I don't think those issues are going to be actual issues at the next level. So I really like what I saw from him, and I kind of agree. I think at some point this season, Nuggets fans are going to be calling for Jalen Pickett over Reggie Jackson if Reggie Jackson doesn't figure it out. Because I think I will talk about it in the free agency portion, but I think he has a chance to be better, obviously, than when he was last year. But I think just because Jalen Pickett's younger and he has the potential and he has clearly skills to help contribute to winning immediately, I think he's gonna get a lot of calls to play early.
Yeah, for sure. Colin Gillespie, the other guy fighting for the backup point guard spot. Does he have a roster spot right now?
No, they still have all three two ways open. I'm assuming he's gonna get one of them,
Yeah.
regardless of how iffy he plays in summer league because of how like Calvin Booth has talked him up like all off season and
Yeah.
they all love him in the team. So I assume he's gonna get it, especially because he was injured all of last season. Like I feel like it'd be unfair to not give him one of the two ways, especially with three of them now. But I don't know. He doesn't
Yes.
have anything guaranteed.
Okay, but anyways, I was just gonna say I don't think you can take like anything away from this game because this is the first game he's played. This is like Jamal Murray,
Yeah,
like first game played off.
yeah,
I would even
yeah.
say a broken leg. I mean, that sounds nastier than a torn ACL.
It's a broken leg off a torn ACL too. Like he tore his ACL, played one season in college, and then broke his leg. Like he hasn't played any basketball essentially in the last 3 years.
Yeah, so I mean, 1 for 7 from the field, 0 for 3 from downtown. That's a complete rust.
Yeah.
And then yeah, Hunter Tyson and Julian Strother, the other two draft picks playing in this game. Obviously, Hunter Tyson, amazing first half.
Mhm.
I think he started out 3 for 4 from three. 21 points. Obviously, his 3 point shot is automatic, but what stood out to me is his cutting and his kind of
Yeah.
ability to finish around the basket was interesting to me because you can tell I feel like he's got a pretty good like basketball IQ about where he should be, which places he
Mhm.
should be in. He filled that corner on that Watson shot I was referring to earlier, where Watson pulled up and Tyson was wide open in the corner. He did a good job filling that corner in transition. Um, Jesus. And then defensively, there was nothing that was like stood out as, oh my God, that's a horrible
Bad.
defensive play.
Yeah. I mean, he had a block. He had like a chase down block on Drew Timmy after falling for that was the one thing I guess defensively. He fell for like 4 pump fakes, like full on jumping on a closeout. But I guess that was like but he recovered really nicely on all of them. Like he didn't get beat super hard on any of them, so that was good. And his effort was there. I mean, that was something that the coaching staff and everyone has talked about. Like his motor is crazy. Like he never stops trying, he never stops hustling, which is weird because he's huge. Like having a motor for a guy who's 6'9" is really hard to find because those guys are just so big that it's hard for them to keep it up for that long. But I mean, that was true. He recovered really nicely. He rebounded very well. Um, yeah, I liked what I saw from him. That was so surprising. Like I didn't think like obviously we knew he's a good shooter. Like that's all he was known for in college. And I knew he was a good rebounder because he averaged like 15 and 10 or something his last season at Clemson. But I didn't think he was that good of a cutter. I didn't think that he had like he really knows how to get open. Like he pump fake, will sidestep, will pump fake drive, get a mid range jumper. So he's a really good cutter off the ball. Um, so I mean I think that those couple of things are going to be able to keep him in the minds of the Nuggets coaching staff because he doesn't really make too many mistakes. Uh, so I think we'll see what happens tomorrow, but I think that that's good momentum for him because he was the guy who I was like, I don't know if he's even gonna last like his contract.
Yeah,
But
for sure, man. I mean, he showed me more. He had a fading baseline mid-range jumper like
mhm,
over somebody. And I'm like, geez, like that was a super skilled shot. That's like
yeah,
Kawhi-esque. Um, and so I mean, that's impressive to show that he can do that because obviously we were both thinking that he's gonna be some catch and shoot 3 point, Tyler like
yeah,
type of player. But nah, like he showed that he could create his own shot even, which is definitely surprising.
mhm,
Strother, the first round pick for the Nuggets, 15 points. Basically just did what was kind of expected out of him coming into this, just catch and shoot 3 point guy, and can sometimes make a floater, and like that's about it. He's did not.
yeah,
I mean, he had 15 points in 25 minutes. Definitely hit some impressive threes, 3 for 9 from three, but outside of that, really had no other impact that I could tell.
yeah. I thought defensively he was internet connection is unstable. I thought defensively his that was kind of disappointing from Strother. And I knew he wasn't a very good defender coming out of college. Like that's not what he was ever asked to do. But I mean, he looked really slow laterally. Like he couldn't really stay in front of anybody. He's gonna have to learn how to use his length because he is long and he has the ability to make plays on defense. So he's gonna have to learn how to use his body a lot better. Uh, but I mean, the jumper was we went 3 for 9 from three, so it wasn't as advertised. But his trigger was as advertised.
Yeah.
Anytime he touched it and he was somewhat open, he shot it, and it didn't really look like he was ever uncomfortable on a jumper. He never like any closeout didn't really affect him. I think he just missed. It was just off a little bit. But second half, I thought it was a lot better. He made a few threes. He wasn't like completely taken advantage of on the defensive end. Um, so I thought he was a lot better. But I mean, I'm gonna have to see more from him to be comfortable
Yeah.
with him. I thought, and then one summer league game. It's been 40 minutes. Like it's not it's not like he's gonna get cut after that, especially after being the first round pick. So he's gonna get a lot more chances. But I just from what I saw from him yesterday, it's not I wasn't too impressed.
Yeah, I think one thing that like stands out to me about Strother is like he plays pretty small. He's 6'7", like, and is classified as a four, but it feels like he's like more of a guard, but he also can't really like handle the ball, uh, and like run any offense like that. But he's not big enough to be a guy who can, even though he's 6'7", he's not like thick enough, and strong enough to be in there battling kind of like near the basket, ceiling position and cutting to the rim and stuff. Like his off the ball movement is all perimeter orientated, flying off
Yeah.
the screens, trying to get catch and shoot threes. Um, and obviously when he attacks the paint, he's not looking for any contact. He goes to that floater, which also makes him seem like he plays pretty small at 6'7". So yeah, man, I mean, I don't know. Like we're gonna need to
Yeah.
see a lot more. Like I know, you hit on the DNVR thing. Adam Mars was also pretty low on Stroud. They're kind of saying all the same stuff coming into the league after what he saw from college. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give it like I'll see how he plays against professional competition because maybe that's different. But this first game at least looked very much like how Mares described him. Yeah, man. I mean, that's all you can say. He's just a catch and shoot guy. Literally, you can't handle the rock. You can't really score through traffic. You can't really defend. Not a great passer. 0 assists in 25 minutes.
Yeah. The good thing is though, all these things are things that he can improve on. Like they're not anything where it's like unfixable. And the fact that he is a good shooter is going to be able to keep him around for a long time because that's just what the NBA is right now. Like if you're a good shooter, you're going to have a spot in the league. So these are things he can learn. He's not going to play right away. I don't think he has any clear path to a rotation spot day one. Because he's not better than anybody ahead of him. He's not a good enough defender to beat out Peyton Watson. And I don't think he does enough stuff to beat out Christian Brown. He doesn't do enough stuff to, beat out Vlatko Čančar or Zeke Nnaji. Like he's gonna be on the bench. I think Denver's player development system, one of the better ones in the NBA. Like and I think their strength development system is also very underrated. So I think you look at how strong Peyton Watson is now compared to what he was last year, compared to what it was at the beginning of the season. I think if Julian Strawther is able to go on that sort of path to just beef up a little bit and be more comfortable taking contact, be more comfortable being physical on defensive end,
Yeah.
he'll be able to be fine. And I think he's going to have the opportunity to do that. He's going to be up and down in the G League, from what I assume. He'll have chances to improve and fix out those things. So like these are just reactions from one summer league game, and everyone overreacts to summer league like it's not. It's normal to do that, but I like that's just my first reactions from him is like,
if he can
wasn't
just
too impressed.
if he can just add a little something, like I'm just scared with him. Like it seems like every time he caught the ball, he just shot it immediately. Like that was just his first instinct was to immediately look at the basket and shoot it. But if he can like just have a little like creativity that he can add, whether it's a pump fake, you get him flying and then sidestep for a three or pump fake attack, shoot a little pull up mid range. Because I haven't seen one mid range shot from him. I don't think I saw one mid range jump shot from him like in college too.
Yeah, like,
So
if he can become if he's looking around the perimeter to get a shot, he catches it, he doesn't have the shot, he passes it, then he cuts to the middle. Those are things that are going to be allow him to play with Jokic.
Yeah.
Which is what you have to kind of mold yourself around if you're going to play with Denver.
Yeah, he can't just catch it and like if he's not open, pass it and then not move. Like he's got to pass it, and try to get open again and relocate, which I think he can because he was showing that at Gonzaga. We don't really see, but he didn't really have like too many opportunities. It felt like to do that in this summer league game. But yeah, if he can, as you said before, like if he can use that 3-point shot as like a mental kind of like weapon against the defense, to where like the defense is like, all right, that guy's a good 3-point shooter. We got to close out really fast on him. Then boom, like develop a little, shot creation off of that 3-point threat. Which I mean, obviously he's got that floater. that's definitely a real thing that he can use as a counter. But
Yeah.
if you're just a 3-point shooter floater guy, like I think teams can key in on that. So, you know, but we'll see. We will see.
Yeah. Long way. There's still like 3 months until preseason even starts. So there's a ton of time for him to work on these, and especially throughout the season. We know how long it is watching Denver go from day one of preseason to the end of the year as champions. Like there's so much time to improve on literally everything. So
Yeah.
just overreactions, but I mean, still, like these are valid concerns. These are things that the GMs know, I'm sure. Like, and these are very obvious things. Like if we can see it through on summer game, I'm sure these guys watching every single minute that he played in college, scouting him to draft him, they also know it too.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, I have high hopes for him still. Like I think he can be good, especially because he is such an elite shooter. Like everyone talks about how good of a shooter he is. So I'm sure that him going 3 for 9 isn't like that's not normal. He's not going to do that too many times.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think
He just
he'll be
makes
fine.
one
And
more.
then,
If he goes 4 for 9, like that's a pretty
yeah,
18
you think of it
points.
way differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he
Um,
missed a ton of open ones too. Like he had a lot of open shots. And especially for him, like almost every single shot is open. I like Tommy Balcetis said in an interview, he was like, we think that if with Strother, if you're closing out on him, it's probably too late because the shot's already up. That's how quick his release is, and that's how good of a shooter he is, which I think that's a great thing to have on your scouting report. Like if you're that good of a shooter where you can't even close out on him because it's gonna go up, then you're gonna be good. So I'd like to see him. I do want to highlight one other player before we move on to free agency. Grant Golden, I thought was weird. Like people like he is a very, very good passer. He had 5 assists. He had a couple of really nice backdoor passes to cutters. He really impressed me on the offensive end. Defensively and rebounding, he did nothing. 2 rebounds for a center is
oh
not
yeah.
good at all.
I
But
was gonna
and
hit.
defensively, like he had no impact.
I was
But
gonna hit on that with Kamagate too, but yeah, keep going.
yeah, I think that he has a chance to take one of the 2-way spots because Denver has virtually no playable size on the bench. Like you have Zeke Naji and Vlatko, who I think should start as the backup 4 and 5, but that's a small ball lineup. I think you have to have some sort of option to play big outside of DeAndre Jordan. I think he's there for veteran leadership and veteran leadership only. If he
Right.
is actually gonna have to play legit minutes, then something is wrong. Like that's not an ideal situation. So I think that Grant Golden has a good opportunity to steal one of the open 2-way slots
Yeah.
because he's just size and he can fit into Nuggets system easily because he is a good playmaker.
Dude, I think
So,
you're like really starting to see like the Jokic effect like on these
yeah,
big men. I was even seeing it with Victor. It's like, dude, this guy's just looking for his pass like he's like Jokic.
yeah,
Like I feel like that's something that goes through their mind. They're like, Jokic just won a championship being all unselfish. And what's his name? Victor just did that. And the Grant Golden looked, like a little mini Jokic
yeah.
out there with the backdoor cuts. And I'm seeing like a lot of big men kind of look for those backdoor cuts also. And yeah, I mean, he was 3 for 3. He has a nice little post hook shot.
Yeah.
Says he had
He had a triple double in the G League last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
he's a
I didn't
very,
even
very
realize he
good
was on the
offensive player.
Nuggets G League team. I've never heard of this name until these. But
I only remember him because he just was like some random dude on the training camp roster. I was like, who is this guy?
okay, yeah.
He was on the G League team. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, he had a triple double in the G League last year. I think he averaged a double double as well. I don't think this rebounding thing is like an actual issue. Like he is a good rebounder. It just
Yeah.
this matchup is so weird because Taco is like you can't even if you box him out, he's just gonna like it's just impossible to do anything against him. So I want to see what he
So
looks
they
like
got
against normal size centers.
so the Nuggets have 3 two-way contracts. Has anybody been signed to them?
No, I
Okay.
think they're all open.
So I mean, yeah, I mean, like obviously these guys like Armand Franklin, but I mean, and Funk and
Mhm.
that's about. I mean, and Golden, and like that's about it. All the other guys. That's what's so interesting about this Nuggets team. It's like these guys are like like 8 out of these guys are like on the actual team. Strother,
Yeah.
Tyson, Pickett, Gillespie, probably. Kamagate has a spot, for next year. Pickett, Watson, and like there's just a couple guys fighting for that third two-way spot, and Grant Golden looks like it's sitting perfectly there for him. If he can play well, because Armand Franklin didn't really do too much in that game,
Yeah.
and Funk was 0 for 4 from 3.
Yeah. I
Which
know
is
Funk and Franklin are on exhibit 10s,
yeah.
which means that they have like an NBA tryout clause or something in their contract, and that they're going to be on the G League team, barring that they get waived, which I don't think will happen. So they'll be on the G League team. I don't know. I think Golden was also on one of those last year, but I think right now he's just on the roster. So I think Gillespie will get one of them. I'll probably predict Grant Golden gets another one, and then the other one's up to Franklin or someone else. I want to see Cassius Stanley get a chance because
Yeah, why didn't he play?
I don't know. I really want to see him get a chance because I know like this is I think what his third or fourth year in the league coming up. He hasn't really made an impact. He was super highly touted out of high school, one and done guy, but he's so ridiculously athletic
Yeah.
that I feel like he deserves a chance to be on a two-way with a team that has the opportunity to really watch him and develop him and hone in his skills because of how good their player development is.
He's
But
like one of those guys where it's like a 5-star in high school
Mhm.
purely based on athleticism.
Yeah,
Like even though he doesn't have much like IQ or skill, um, like Jalen Hands, I feel like was like I was seeing
yeah,
Jalen Hands playing in a game earlier. I'm like, bro, this guy's like still out here trying. He's like turning it over. I'm like, geez, I remember when this guy was a 5-star, like highly touted recruit. He
I know. Yeah.
fell off, and it's kind of the same thing with Stanley. But yeah, I mean, I feel like he should get a chance. He's still strong and athletic and stuff, and I don't know, maybe he's developed a shot by now that teams don't know about. I don't know, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'd like to see him
So
play
cool.
also. Um,
Yeah. I just want to because he's just so athletic. I feel like
yeah,
if you have that much athleticism, you have a chance to be able to contribute. Um, Especially like I don't know, Armand Franklin didn't exactly do anything in the game that I thought Cassius Stanley couldn't. So I just like to see them get a chance. But obviously the coaches know more than us. They see different things behind the scenes more than us. So like if he's not playing in summer league, something like he's not as good as we think, obviously. But
yeah.
just
I mean,
personally,
I feel like he could be like a dog defensively too.
yeah, I know he is a good defender. Like I know he is. Like he's not one of those guys who is just ridiculously athletic and doesn't do much. But I know he is a good defender. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. You were gonna say something about Kamagate. Go for it, and then we'll go into free agency.
Yeah, just I mean, it was a weird matchup because you're not gonna play, a 7'6" dude Taco Fall every night, but like he was just didn't impress me. Like I was kind of expecting more from him. I know he's not on the team this year, obviously, and he'll come over next year most likely. But I was hoping to see a little more out of him, especially rebounding the ball and defensively. Like he got beat like 3-4 times probably on the offensive glass by either
Yeah,
Taco or just somebody else. Um, Dude, I like Drew Timmy, man. I was watching him play. I'm like, I wish Drew Timmy was a Nugget because he had 0 assists, but there was one of these like he's a very good passer, and he had a nice
Mhm.
pass to the perimeter, and some guy missed the shot. But I'm just looking at their big men. I feel like, I mean, it was mostly like Taco that kind of destroyed him on the offensive glass, but I don't know. I was just
Yeah,
hoping to see a little more. Obviously, this is one game. Like I need like relax with these
yeah,
takes. I don't know. I just wish because he looked so good last year in the summer league, and we thought he was going to be on the team for this year.
yeah,
I did at least, and then all of a sudden, like, no, he's still got this contract with the European team, and he's got to stay over there. And so I thought he was going to come out and kind of be like a huge piece to this summer league team. 5 points in 21 minutes, only took 2 shots. Um, so we'll see once he plays against a guy that's not Taco
yeah.
Fall. size.
Yeah, Taco's such a weird matchup because like not only is he like 7'6", but he's also like ridiculously strong. Like most guys are
Yeah.
that tall are super skinny. Like we're seeing it now. Like guys like Victor and guys like Chet Holmgren, like they're super tall, but they're really skinny because it's hard to put on weight when you're that huge. He's ginormous. Like he is the biggest human being I think I've ever seen in my life. Uh, and like it's just so hard to do anything against him when he is actively trying on the glass.
So
So we'll see
he's
I don't know who they play next tomorrow. I don't think I'll be able to watch the game. I'll be able to watch like half an hour of it
okay.
uh, on my my dinner break at work. But um, we'll see what he looks like against a normal size center.
Taco Fall. Let me. Taco Fall is 7'6", 311. Like, so you cannot take any matchup against him seriously.
No, like he can't do anything. Like he
311 is crazy. I was expecting to see like 250, 270.
311 is huge. It's like Shaq
Yeah,
at
yeah, exactly.
7'6".
Does seven
Especially
six
in
like
summer
offensive
league
line.
players. Like summer league players aren't like their bodies aren't developed yet. Like they don't really know how to use their size properly. Like against that, like that's impossible.
Dude, I want to see this guy playing tackle. Like, actually, probably his lateral like first step, like as a left tackle, would be pretty crappy. But dude, like seven, and obviously that you can't put him at like guard because then like Russell Wilson trying to throw over Taco Fall
Yeah.
would be insane. But if you put him at tackle, like with I bet his wingspan's got to be. He's 7'6". His wingspan's got to be at least 8 feet.
Yeah, just
So
huge.
that'd be insane as a
Or put
tackle.
him at like nose tackle. No one's throwing over him. Like
Just put his
just
hands up. Yeah.
try me.
But obviously no foot. I don't. Did he grow up in Africa? No football in Africa. I don't know
I
where
think
he
he's
grew
from
up, honestly.
I think he's from Africa. But,
Um,
yeah. All right, let's go
anyway,
to
so
free
there's
agency. We got like 5 minutes. We're
yeah,
going to free agency super quick. We'll talk about Denver. There wasn't anything like crazy unexpected from other teams around the league. Like Houston signed everyone that they possibly could and offered money at more people who signed elsewhere. So they had a huge offseason. I don't know what the direction of their team is. It looks like they're trying to compete with a team that is not really ready to compete. But I guess we could talk about that later. We'll talk about the Nuggets right now for the last 5 minutes of this. So many people are really angry at the Nuggets offseason. I don't know. They couldn't do more than what they did. Like they couldn't offer Bruce Brown more than 7.8 million. Like they physically could not do more than that because of their cap situation. And he chose to go to a place that offered him 22 million. He would have been the stupidest guy on the planet to take 7 million over 22 million after winning a ring. That is just dumb. For a guy who has made 15 million in his career, obviously he's going to choose 22 million. There's no issues with that. Not being able to get Jeff Green back sucks. I would have liked to bring him back strictly for veteran leadership. I didn't want him to play, but just for veteran leadership, having someone there to mentor guys like Peyton Watson, Zeke Naji, Vlatko Chanchar, help them grow and learn as NBA players would have been nice. But he signed for 2 years, 16 million with Houston. Yeah. Denver couldn't possibly match that.
I think it's really like 1 year, 6 million guaranteed.
Yeah, something because of
still 6 million too much.
Yeah, they couldn't afford that. They couldn't afford that. Then signing Reggie Jackson to the taxpayer mid-level exception. That's the one iffy thing. I would have liked to see them go for someone else, but the other contracts people were getting, Denver wouldn't have been able to. They couldn't afford anybody. Like they could not afford anybody. They did the best with the money they had, and it looks like they're going to have to rely on the younger guys who are already on the roster. And that's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean the guys that like I was looking at guys who signed for either the same contract as Reggie Jackson or less. Seth Curry, I would have liked to see more. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Torian Prince, Monte Morris. I don't think you can use the TPE they created for Monte Morris to trade for Monte Morris.
You can't.
But Detroit only gave him like 2 picks or 2 second-round picks, maybe even just 1 second-round pick. So I mean, I would have liked to like renounce the rights on. I don't know how that would all work. If you renounce the rights on Reggie and trade a second-round pick for Monte, Yeah, I mean, the Reggie thing, like, it's definitely too much money, but I think it's a very tradable contract. Um,
Yeah.
like say you come up to the trade deadline and I like Reggie's playing decently, but maybe you want Pickett, maybe you can trade Reggie. He's got a tradable contract to bring in somebody who's a rotation caliber player at the trade deadline. So I mean, I guess that's how like I see that contract working out. Because you're not going to trade somebody who's on like if you gave him the minimum and you're looking to dump him, like there's no point in that.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's that, and then like he's just a veteran. There's no ball handler off the bench except for him who has experience. So just to be a veteran ball handler,
Yeah.
even though he doesn't really like run the offense, I feel like the Nuggets kind of want to run because he's just more of a self-creating scorer at backup point guard. Um, so yeah, I mean, but if Pickett is playing well, I think you can trade that contract at the deadline for maybe somebody who's on the MLE who isn't really playing.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But
Yeah.
I feel
No,
like the
I
whole
think
point of
they
that
they
contract was tradable.
yeah, I think they brought Reggie back. They look at what he did last year. He didn't do great, but I mean, he was getting up to speed on a contending team that was making a run for a championship. They didn't have room for error. It's the same reason they traded Bones Highland. They didn't have room for mistakes. They didn't have room for error like that on the second unit. They were like, you know what? It's not working. We'll rest him. Cool, fine. So bringing him back, having a full training camp, full preseason, being able to learn the offense, learn the players' tendencies, will be a lot better for him. I'm sure that they have confidence that he's going to be able to do that, which makes sense. I mean, it's hard to come in as a buyout team running a situation in LA for 3-4 seasons and then
Right.
coming to this season, completely different team, different coaching staff, different players, different system altogether.
Yeah.
It's
I
definitely,
mean,
it would definitely be hard.
just 2 years ago, he was like one of the best players on the Clippers, like winning that
Yeah.
series against the Suns. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, there's that. We got 1 minute left. I think like one thing I want to talk about for 1 minute is like uh the whole thing with now Lillard, Beal like signing max contracts and then getting traded. Like I feel like and Jaylen Brown probably is gonna maybe do that coming up too. And Zion Williamson looks like he could be traded too, but like the guys who sign the max contracts so that they get the most amount of money and then just ask out like a year later, it feels like they're just like finessing the NBA. There could be like a rule that comes out
Maybe.
like that, and even like just I point is I think salary cap is becoming overrated because teams can't really sign top players. Like even next year, it's Pascal